Yeah. Hey everybody, what's up? It's Vlad. How are y'all doing? Oh, today's been a day. I basically had the kids all day today, so my brain is a little bit fried. So just kind of give you the TLDR of what we're going to be doing today on stream is I have a special guest that'll be coming on fairly shortly. And then I want to react to the Lazy Peon video because I've heard so many people say that it's actually a really good video, and I wanted to go ahead and react to it and just kind of see his take on what's going on with Ashes of Creation, because it was literally him who got me into Ashes of Creation. I think how he presents his opinions and how he is more of like me in the sense of not being the hardcore gamer, because of course, like, he has a job, he does YouTube, like he can't play an MMO for 8 to 12 hours a day. So welcome everybody. How are y'all doing? Hope y'all are having a great Thursday so far. Yeah, the first thing I want to do is, yesterday we had a whole thing, right? So we had the bans, which was good. The bans from Intrepid were good. But a lot of people, have said that they were unfairly banned. And, one of them being Thunder from Vice. And there's been a lot of people that, have claimed that he and, or at least for him, that he hasn't been doing anything bad. And, just like everything else, right, there's always two sides of a story. And so I wanted to bring him on and just to kind of hear his side of things and just see, like, the truth from his angle. You know what I mean? Like, that's really it. You see, right? That's just what someone who does stuff would say. Well, it's like I said, like, I don't know Finney. I've never met him and never talked to him, so it's like, for me, it's hard to believe someone that I've never met, which is why I usually take stuff like with a grain of salt. But I think perspective is good. You know what I mean? And I think just getting perspective is like, he's only gonna be on for a little bit. I just want to tell him, I just want to be able to give his side of the story, see what he has to say. I just want to ask him a couple of questions. And if you guys have any questions, we'll ask. And then after that, he'll dip out. So that's basically it. And then after that, like I said, we'll go into the whole Lazy Peon video. We'll discuss all of his problems, his issues with Ashes of Creation, and kind of just go into there. So give me 1 second. All right. He said he'll just give him a minute. So, but yeah, so yesterday was actually pretty cool. No one was harassing me that much in DMs privately, which was great. I thought yesterday was going to be insane. But no, it was actually after the stream, like, I was just watching some anime with my wife and I wasn't really getting DM that much at all. So I was like, oh, it's pretty chill. If he's a big name, you think he would be looked into claims deeper, and if he isn't, appealed, then why don't they want him in their game for whatever reason? Well, I think it's because Vice, a lot of them, when I spoke to Tango, Tango is a hardcore player. I mean, he plays a lot. He's in game a lot. So there's a lot of reasons when players play like that, they play hard, but also, hardcore players are known to do things that aren't always ethical. And so I just want to get it from his take. You know what I mean? I'm going to ask him questions. I'm just going to be a straight shooter about things. And, and if he has nothing to hide, he has nothing to hide, right? I mean, that's really it. What did he do to get banned? Well, that's the thing. Like, that's kind of questions I want to ask him. I don't really know Vice. I don't know, all right, he says he's ready. So let's go into it. And let me put my headphones on and we'll get to asking questions.
Hello.
Yo, yo, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How we doing?
Hey, let me see. Can you all hear him pretty well, chat? Is he coming through pretty good? Okay. Uh
Testing. There
I
you
think
go.
yeah, I think it's pretty good. Okay, Thunder. Well, hey, welcome, man. My name is Vladis. It's good to meet you, brother. Like I said, I talked to your boy Tango on my 1v1 for like over an hour, and I think we had a pretty good discussion because he left some comments on my video, from my casual perspective to his very hardcore perspective. And you being the GM of Vice, what is Vice? What are y'all's goals? Like, how hardcore of players are you guys? Like what's been the whole theme from you guys since phase one?
Sure. Yeah, so nice to meet you too. And I did get a chance to watch that video you did with Tango. He's got quite a wealth of knowledge and
He
certainly
does.
a lot of opinions. So
That's true.
always a fun one to listen to. But yeah, as far as Vice goes, we use the term competitive, and this is in contrast to the word hardcore. I mean, we certainly have players that play in what you might call a hardcore manner, but and I would say we have a lot of folks that have a true hardcore background. Just to kind of set the stage, like when we say hardcore, that usually comes with a specific set of requirements. Like, you must be, online, say X hours a day, or, you have to be around for, certain events or something like that. And it just really entails a level of investment that, a lot of us, having jobs, having families, it's just not really, all that appealing. And as far as goals go, we're not out here to, try to go for server first or world first. We just want to be, part of a community, like-minded folks, and, be out there and really be competitive.
Okay.
Um, Ultimately, when you see a vice party, and it's time to fight, like, I want us to have this reputation of like, oh shit, we better lock in, because if we don't focus up, like they're gonna wipe us.
Okay.
But other than that, I would just say it's a step below hardcore, and we try to approach things a bit more casually, a bit more fun, while still having that min maxer mindset.
Okay. So, I saw, and again, I it's hard to follow a general chat sometimes, but I think I saw you post a thing of you having your ban reverted, but that was from phase two. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if that ban reversion screenshot is actually of Tango.
Oh,
Tango
of
was
Tango.
banned in the previous phase, really under similar circumstances, high value trades. They reviewed it, and they were like, "Hey, we see that you've been making these sales to people that we've deemed to be part of this RMT problem, but the
Right.
sales themselves are not, what was the issue. It's we sell things at a fair price." Relative to the market value of the materials, and it's not like we're actively, I don't know,
And when you
funding these RMT operations.
when you say sell, you mean selling. You're not like you're selling it for gold. You're not selling it for
Correct.
cash.
Yeah.
Okay, just to be clear, because
Yeah.
um
Yeah. No.
and so like, what is your stance on RMT? Because a lot of
Um,
hardcore guilds, they say one thing publicly, but then they do another privately. And I'm not trying to say this about you guys, but I'm just saying, like, I've been around the block. I've been in this MMO community for 20 years, and a lot of people that go hard in MMOs, want to stay competitive with these other huge entities. And there is some pretty big competition here in Ashes of Creation, and y'all being on Resna, y'all have a lot of customers that y'all can service in that hardcore space. So,
yeah. As far as RMT goes, my general position is that I can't police every action that individuals are going to perform. I mean, and transparently, what I tell people is like, you know I know that it happens. I don't want to hear about it. It's not something that the guild is going to encourage. And, if I find out that someone has done it, it's certainly not going to make me proud of them. You know, some people might argue like, oh, like, well, they're spending money, you know, that shows an investment in, you know, what it is that they're doing, and I don't really agree with that. We have a lot of folks who, you know, they really pour in a ton of their time trying to do things, well, you know, we'll say the right way. And we don't really have a need to go out there in RMT because of how much time we put into the econ side of the game. I'm going to have much, I guess, a higher perspective of, you know, someone who's out there hitting the rocks, you know, making the trades, you know, putting things on the market and just putting themselves out there versus someone that just swiped to, you know, get ahead. I think somebody that's spending that money is more likely to fall off sooner, and you know, ultimately, you know, probably not a good idea to invest, you know, our resources into.
That sounds very lax. Like, so our guild has a very stringent, you caught doing any kind of RMT or were known that you're like doing anything exploitative, duplicative, like we don't just simply look the other way, we just remove them. So like, doesn't that sound a little lax to you that you would just look the other way or just be disappointed in someone that, you know, again, because reputation is everything in Ashes of Creation. And if Vice gets the reputation of being labeled something that isn't really true because of a lax stance, I mean, don't you think it's gonna be really hard to like create a different image?
That's a good point, and you know, to be honest with you, I mean, Vice has been around for 6 months now, and we really haven't had this kind of issue.
For sure.
You
And I
know,
think
there's
it's always good to start early because again, you know, like Polar, right? You know, I was talking about Polar. It's like they chose this kind of persona and now like how the community holds them, regardless of like what they're doing is like all positive or whether it's all villainous or whatever. My point is the community will label them. And once that happens, there ain't much to change the community at that point. And I think because it is early, like I think it's very important to, if you as the guild lead feel like this is completely wrong and this is not the right label for our guild, then that something needs to be done, right?
I think that's a fair way to put it. You know, I mean, we're certainly against, you know, exploiting in general. You know, I think part of the challenge though is like, you know, we get accusations thrown away really all the time, and you know, folks will want me to, you know, take action on a player, but then not have, you know, like a clip or some type of evidence that it's actually happening. And I can't like, you know, take action on players where I don't have, you know, evidence that, you know, some wrongdoing has actually occurred.
Right.
You know, I definitely encourage, and this is just in general, that folks are recording their gameplay when they see, you know, things that are happening. You know, arm yourself with some backup to. If there's a video, I can take action on it. There's screenshots that show something definitive, I can action it.
No, for
If it's
sure.
just, especially just some random folks telling me something is happening,
Right.
there's not really much for me to do.
No, for sure. And even in our guild, right? Like, you know, I come from the guild suspect, right? So it's hard to know really if someone is like RMT or whatever. But I guess the stance is we're not lax. Like we're not going to look the other way. We always say, and we always put the fear in people that join our guild that if you are caught doing anything and you like make us have like a bad look, like you're going to be booted, you're gone. Like that's our stance. Like, cause it is hard to police, right? Like if there's just some person from early access that joined your guild and they're purchasing gold in some other MMO, right? And you just, you know, they had a good interview with you and you think, hey, this guy seems like a good fit, but that's just kind of their shady behavior that you have absolutely no idea of, right? Like, I think it's, instead of having that lax stance and knowing like, oh, you know, and maybe they'll be more or try to be more protective, but I think eventually like shit ends up getting out anyway, right? Like this ban list. And I think if people are because I feel like right now like the community is just on fire with this whole ban list, and you know, you've seen it in the general chat. I mean, you trying to like clean your name and then people are just like, get fucked, you know, because everybody's just so excited for this ban list and don't even know the situation, don't even know, like, so for you specifically, let's just get into you because you were banned. And you were banned because are you like an armorsmith or weaponsmith, or like what are you creating or what's going on? Because there's some other guilds that funnel just to one person, and that one person deals with a whole bunch of trading. So I don't know if that's the same with you guys or like.
Yep. So that's pretty much exactly the case. You know, Vice runs uh, a pooled resource model where, you know, we play it like a survival game. It's not, there's no DKP system. There's not, you know, I suppose uh, an individualistic mindset. Like we're all working together to ensure that the guild is, you know, achieving its goals. And part of that, like we have different folks who are, I'll say, either focused crafters or they're focused on gathering or different roles within the guild. But ultimately, as the GM, you know, my responsibility is in while ensuring that loot gets, you know, distributed appropriately. And what that will, you know, entail is that crafters will trade me the crafted items. And then I'm also taking a big role in the revenue generation for the guild. You know, that can involve, especially in the high value items that we craft, think epic bows, legendary jewelry, things like that. Often I'm the one that's making the sale. And, you know, to that end, you know, I would suspect that this ban is really stemming from, you know, high value trades and a large frequency of them. It could also be from materials as well. Often people, we have multiple people who accept donations, you know, into you know what we call the guild bank, and all of our transactions are logged within our Discord. But there's just a very large propensity of rare materials, high rarity items, and gold that flows through the Thunder account. Um, Again, don't have really any idea what their metric is for, you know, determining, you know, an action that hasn't been shared. And, you know, as part of the initial ban email, it just says, you know, either performing or associated with accounts that have been, you know, involved in exploitative behavior. It's like, well, okay,
Okay.
what does that mean? Um, so that's my best guess is, you know, again, selling something that costs 200 or 300, 400, 500 gold, like, um, you know, the people that are trying to get ahead by, you know, swiping those credit cards, they're going to be trying to buy those items, right? And, you know, I can't run a background check, a proof of income, you know, nationality or whatever to,
So
you know,
basically,
really
it's
police.
right. I mean, it's like if they have the gold, like you just don't care. I mean, it's kind of like with anything else, right? In the marketplace, I mean, it's like if people who buy my things, like I have no real say. It's like if I'm promoting, hey, I'm trying to sell legendary limestone, and someone says, hey, I'll give you the 15 gold you want for that one. I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really going to question it. Like, hey, is your 15 gold clean or is it dirty or, you know, whatever the case is.
Yeah,
So I'm
how'd
sure
you
I'm,
earn it? Walk me through that step
yeah.
of how many fish did that take on the old pesca raid? Or you've been running crates? How you been getting through them passes?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot right now I think for people, and I think the process of earning gold right now, I mean there's some things, right? There's like the exploit when it comes to the fishing lure. There's also of course the major duplication thing. And I really don't want to ask you like have you guys duped, right? Because I feel like you're just going to say no. But I think the bigger question is you know, because there was a lot of screenshots of Finney and you. Funny enough, you weren't on his list. Like I found that so weird, and I thought about it afterwards. I don't know if I said it yesterday on stream, but you know, this whole Finney files, and then he listed like all these people, but you weren't listed. But yet there was a bunch of screenshots with you and Finney. So can you at least tell me? Because I don't know Finney. I don't know him as a person. I don't know if you really know him as a person or if he was just your kind of go-to guy kind of thing. Um, so I guess can you tell me that? Because I think this relationship has been going on with you guys since phase one, correct?
So I I never actually played in phase one,
Oh, phase two then.
and our relationship with Finney that started in like October. I want to say that the screenshot that you saw at least shows the initial time that I reached out to him, where it says, you know, Cry said you were looking for help from EBC or whatever, you know, and I'm being, you know, quite friendly, like, yeah, we can use all the help we can get, and you know, ultimately, you know, I'm playing Mr. Politician at that point of just, um, you know, making connections outside of the guild and trying to, you know, secure I don't know, either friendships or resources, better deals, what have you. And this was in October, and we ended up buying I would say about 1,000 gold of materials from Finney. It ended up being like, I don't know, some stuff for grave bolts and like some dried weeping willow boards and such, like just run of the mill mats, and we paid a reasonably fair price, maybe just below market value. Beyond that, there really isn't that much there. And for those screenshots to be floating around, I think some of those were the ones I actually just posted myself because when the whole Finney incident initially happened, like he named me and Gago as being like at the top of the list. And my only thought there is that this has to be, um, I don't know, he just wants to stir the pot a bit because we never engaged in any RMT, we never engaged in any duping, and I was, I don't know, I think reasonably upset that I was even part of that conversation because, well, it didn't happen. Yeah, did I answer your original question there? Or, I mean, I can
Yeah, I mean,
clarify.
you basically just knew Finney from what, 6 months ago, apparently, like, or since October, you
Yeah.
said.
I mean, if you'd like, I don't know if it'll work that way. I mean, I can stream to you like my DMs with Finney starting from the beginning, if that would, you know, provide an
Uh,
opportunity to clear that up, or if it can happen off stream as well. It doesn't matter to me.
I mean, it's, my whole thing is a lot of this, a lot of the RMT or duping or whatever, because I mean, it seems like your guild specifically like has been doing stuff very efficiently. And when it comes to like even Tango and this and the mats and the things that you guys create as a guild, seem like you have a pretty well-oiled machine on your guys' hands. So like, would you guys be willing to work with Intrepid to show your techniques to them and understand that maybe like, hey, like our guild can kind of be a litmus test for like actually like hardcore people like legitimately playing the game as efficiently as possible, um or even like potentially even like having a conversation to change y'all's tactics, because I think again it's hard to kind of trust people, especially like when it comes to the very hardcore competitive people, because they always want that edge. And because you don't know if one of your officers or just one of your gatherers or one of whoever, without your knowledge, was doing shady shit. And because it's being funneled through you, they're not going to pay the price. You're going to pay the price. You know what I'm trying to say? And so I feel like, I guess my first question is will you be willing to work with Intrepid, to figure all this stuff out?
Um, I would say absolutely. And when the Tango ban happened last phase, one of the first responses to that was Tango put out some guides on how to make gold and how Vice, actually, was able to be so dominant during the phase from an economic perspective. And that's part of why he's gotten back into streaming as well, because throughout the whole past month, I mean, he did 16-hour streams each day of him just sitting on a mailbox and barking out in the Jova market, streaming his trades, streaming the chats, and really having no well, essentially having, hey, all the evidence is there. This is what he's been doing this whole time. And as far as making the game better, I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's really, I mean, that's what we're here for as alpha testers, right? And I know that might be a little corny to say, but
Well, it's a true statement. I mean, that's why I'm here. That's why a
right.
lot of
So,
people in chat
and
are here.
for 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 myself, like, I mean, I'm also involved with the devs on the mayoral side. There is a mayor dev council kind of thing. We're trying to actively improve that system. If they had a similar type of council for, whether it's improving, the economic systems or, I don't know, detection of, people that are, well, progressing maybe a little bit too quickly. I mean, yeah, absolutely, we'd be, willing to support it.
Okay. So, I mean, when it comes to any kind of like what you would call like an exploit. I know right now there's a bunch of things happening when it comes to gold, of like this whole diminishing return and, you know, stage 2 settlements. Once they pop to level 3, you know, turn everything in. I don't know if that was a part of Tango's thing, but like how is y'all's guild like on stuff like that? Like exploits in general. I mean, there was someone in my chat that says that you guys were like excommunicated basically from Overlord because of doing sketchy stuff. So I didn't even know that. I'm just, you know, I don't know if you want to comment on that or whatever, but
I mean, there's certainly some, uh, I don't know, dirty laundry as it relates to Overlord, but not anything we need to discuss here. As far as like, I guess, the economic preparation stuff, we actually haven't done much of the crate prepping, so I can't comment too deeply on that. I did see, I think TMX made the bug report about the tier 2 nodes, but that's not, anything we really had our eye on. And honestly, it's a bit of an oversight on our part to not invest more time into getting the aristocrats and the certificates and running these crates, because I mean, it is each time a node comes up, like tens of thousands of gold are being pumped into the economy. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly.
okay. Well, I don't know if I really have, I mean, any more questions to say. I mean, do you want to kind of just say anything as like a final like plea to Intrepid, or just like, you know, just anything,
I
I
mean,
guess?
I'm confident that when they take a look at it, they're going to overturn it. I mean, they've made mistakes in the past. On appeal, they've said, hey, you got caught up in this, but we can see from your account actions that you didn't actually do anything wrong. And I think that the appeal is going to speak for itself. I'll be, I would say, very disappointed in Intrepid if it doesn't go that way, and it'll certainly impact how I think about them and their ability to really kind of uphold the policies that they claim to have. I don't see myself making pleas. Certainly not begging to be unbanned. I'll just level another character or move on depending on how I feel about it. That's really all I have. But regardless, free Tanko, free Thunder. I don't know about anybody else on the list. As far as Tanko goes, I mean, whether you love him or hate him, certainly a lot of folks might lean to the other side. All the guy did was play 16 hours a day, farming those pride mounts and, selling them to the highest bidder. Similar type of scenario.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know Tango either, to be honest with you. Like I said, he did message me um yesterday, but there was just so much like happening. I had to talk. I was like, I can't have you on as a guest right now. I'm like, there's so much stuff I got to talk about with the freaking the Finny stuff, and then I had to talk about the band stuff. But all right, brother. Well, like I said, I would really recommend, because I'm pretty sure like what's going to happen is that, you know, pretty much everyone in Vice's accounts are probably going to be flagged on the back end of Intrepid, just to kind of monitor, make sure that stuff is on the up and up. Because again, if someone in your guild is doing stuff that you're paying the price for, I would like to know, and I'm pretty sure you would like to know. And I think that's where, you know, something could be happening, especially if y'all are going to have or keep that funneling system, you know, that also has to get looked at too, in a sense, right? So they got to go and see like, oh, well, it was Thunder doing all the transactions, but where were those specific materials that were duped? Who was the originating point of that? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I would hope that, you know, maybe Intrepid reaches out to you, or, you know, you have a conversation to just help them, you know, figure out the tooling part of that, the kind of material IDs, and just making sure that, you know, no one in your guild was either traded duped materials, or no one in your guild was actually duping the materials. Um, so
Yeah,
that's,
I mean, I think it would be good if they did that. I mean, that's less work for me if they get these bad actors out. I don't think really material duping was the issue though. Um, I
but
I,
but
I
wasn't
really
that
think it had.
wasn't that the point of the bans though? Like they said that the player bans with like the guild ones was just the duping That's why I could have sworn Steven said that in general chat, that the RMT and
It
botting
was
was
it
going to
was
happen
duping
later.
and RMT. I have to
Oh,
imagine ours was related to RMT and not duping, but I could be wrong there. Again, I don't know nothing about no dupes, aside from what Finney shared in that mega call, that was on the AOC official Discord. Certain all of our donations are logged. If somebody was just, I don't know, turning in epics and Legos at a rate that was, um, I don't know, either impossible or just like, ridiculous, we would know, and that there's no way that would be tolerated. I just want to be clear on that. Um, you know,
well, I know there was like EBC that was decked out in all epic Rosarium. I'm sure. I don't know if
yeah,
anyone in
that's
Vice was.
crazy to me.
Yeah, well, because
That type of
you know
uh,
how high the rarity is for epic and legendary. I mean, I've only gotten 2 legendaries in Star Phase, and I've been playing every single day. Now, granted, not 12 hours a day, but when I do stream, I'm mostly just hitting rocks or chopping trees or whatever. So to me, it's like I think it's very apparent like where sometimes these epics and legendaries come from, especially in that high ass quantity. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, whatever EBC had going on with a fleet of people running around in epic suits, that's not even humanly possible. I'm glad they got actioned, and I'm glad that Intrepid is taking action. Really wish they would have just gone through a verification step before posting that list, but I'm confident that again after review, we'll be able to clear up our name here.
All right, brother. Well, like I said, it was really good
Hey,
chatting with you, man. I appreciate you
yeah,
coming
good to
on.
meet you.
Yeah, you too, brother.
Appreciate you having me.
Tell Tango I said hi.
Will do. Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Later, brother. All right. Well, there you go. That was GM Thunder from the Guild Vice. Like I said, I just wanted to call him on. I mean, like I said, whether my whole thing is that it's not whether I believe him or disbelieve him. I don't know the dude. Seemed like a nice guy. Um, but I feel like if Intrepid does their due diligence to find where it was dirty, whether it was through the RMT side, whether it was actual proof of RMT, whether it was actual proof on, duplicating materials. Like I said, the truth's going to come out. You know what I mean? Regardless of like anything of what I say or whether what Thunder says, it's all going to come out. So I understand that people have their own, like if you want to believe them, go ahead. If you don't want to believe them, that's your prerogative too. But I believe if a person has to kind of plead their case, a little bit. And the fact, if he's asking like, yes, like go into my account and look at it, like it's like, all right, clearly he's not trying to hide anything, but of course he can't hide anything anyway. I mean, it's all in the back end for Intrepid to see regardless. But, like I said, I just think that it's all about the tooling and refining the tool to, remove as many false positives as possible. Now, if Thunder is a false positive, that'll be fixed whenever Intrepid either removes the ban or keeps the ban. And if they keep the ban, I hope that they at least provide him the evidence as to why they stayed with the band and this was the reason, and this is the evidence and yada yada. But it is what it is. Let me see that that dude is guilty as fuck too. Like I said, I mean, for me, I don't really care if a person is innocent or guilty. What I care about is getting the tools from Intrepid, like as a well-oiled machine as possible till we get to launch. That's really all I care about. Let me see. Vice from the beginning has always been so efficient with their hours and hours of gathering. I think Thunder's probably innocent. I've heard from people that I trust, that I have a good relationship with, that Thunder is innocent. I've heard from less than amount of other people that I do trust, say that, oh my God, Vice they're all terrible people. They're all dupers. They're all this, they're all that. You know what I mean? Like everybody's going to have their opinion. You know what I mean? That's just it. I really don't care about opinions really. Like I care about like the truth, and it's always hard to establish a truth with someone you don't know. That's the reality of it. Now, when Intrepid comes out and does another ban wave next week, and they keep refining this tool, like they'll have their reasons as to why a person either got reverted or more bans are going to go out against these players. You see, can we do some math? 500 Chinese bots banned for spamming chat websites. $50 per account is 25,000 for advertising. Just advertising. The magnitude of cheating suggests everyone is cheating. No, not really. It's just a matter of because that would mean like, am I buying gold? Am I doing stuff? You know what I mean? Like, no, of course not. You know what I mean? I think again, there are the very hardcore competitive people that are doing it to stay competitive. And then I'm also pretty sure you have just like the casual dad that doesn't have enough fucking time, but hey, I have 15 bucks to throw to G2G. I just want to buy like 20 gold to like buy a really nice mount and do some processing. You know what I mean? Like, again, it's not as malicious as some people think, because they do this in other games without getting even a slap on the wrist. Like, it's not a big deal. Let me see. Are you buying gold, Vlad? Oh my God. Here we go. It's not 500 accounts. It's 500 characters. Could be 10 accounts that are deleting characters once people mute them. Well, yeah, I mean, it's always going to be this kind of cat and mouse game with these people, especially the ones that know how to dodge evade and just, you know, do it. That is my gold confirmed. Yes, dude. I buy gold. I buy gold. I buy all the gold. I have like thousands of gold. That's why when you look at my account, I'm always like with less than like 90 silver. I think that was the most gold I've ever had, because I sold my 2 legendary limestone. I sold whatchamacallit, a lot of my materials, my basalt, my copper, my zinc fragments, my zinc ingots. But you see, there's no way this game is going to be one of the most toxic, trolling, exploit, duped RMT games of all the dads that play Ultima Online Beta. Well, that's the thing too, right? Is the fact that this is a very old school game, and all the people that were once young are now like middle-aged dads that have jobs and money. Of course, RMT is going to be a fucking issue, right? It's crazy that we're talking about this in an alpha that is going to wipe either way. I don't care how rich someone is. It's just dumb. No, me too, man. It's just like, to throw money away on digital pixels, like, is, especially for gold, is one thing, but especially in an alpha where it's going to wipe, bro, that's crazy to me. That to me is fucking crazy. People kill without corrupting and buys gold confirmed. Yes, I have all the cheats through Intrepid. They give me all the cheats. I mean, people buy WoW Gold and phase, and a phase only lasts a year. Yeah, that's true. Well, let's go ahead. I really want to watch this video from our boy Lazy Peon. It's a long one, so I'm gonna try to let Lazy talk for a bit and just kind of ramble, see what's been going on. I hope it's a good video. A lot of people told me it's a great video, so let's see.
So, Ashes of Creation recently released on Steam Early Access. Currently, as of making this video, the reviews are 55% positive in English and 63% positive across all languages, leaving it at mixed overall, and I certainly have some thoughts. In this video, I'll share with you my first impressions and experiences with the game so far, as someone who's been covering the development of Ashes since the very beginning.
True.
Not gonna lie, my early impressions were not good, and I can completely understand why sentiment around this.
Shocking. He didn't have a good early access experience? Wow.
Steam Early Access release has been so negative. That being said, after persisting with the game after the initial launch, I have personally gone from having a pretty bad experience and questioning if this game is even going to be something for me, to now where I'm actually having a fairly decent time despite the game's issues after I learned more about how it works and how I should approach it as someone who's gone into it mostly solo. We're going to cover a lot of topics in this video, but first, let's start with my experiences with the game so far. I'll add timestamps in the video description for you to hop around to my specific thoughts on things.
Oh, that looks cool.
Support the content by listening to today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends, the turn-based RPG that I'm sure pretty much every one of you has heard of at this point. Right now in Raid, there's a brand new crossover with Assassin's Creed, and if you download Raid using my link and log in for 7 days,
Lazy
you'll
Peon,
unlock
man.
a free legendary champion, Ezio. It's a limited time event, so make sure to grab him before it's over. Alongside Ezio, Raid is also bringing in 4 more legendary assassins from across across the Assassin's Creed series for a limited time. Ezio plays exactly how you'd expect an OG assassin to play. You apply debuffs.
It's crazy that Raid Shadow Legends still exists.
His hidden blade.
It's just
I play
crazy.
Raid myself from time to time, and Ezio is the kind of champion that feels strong and flexible right out of the gate. Download Raid through my link or QR code, and you'll get the best start ever in this game.
Oh yeah, he got
Not only
paid
will
for
you get
his
Ezio for free after
100%.
logging in for 7 days, you'll also get the super.
So just so you know, people that have like over 100,000 subscribers can literally do a video like this, just this little intro video, and get like, we'll give you like $500 per, 10,000 video or 10,000 views or whatever. And that's why they do it. They don't even need to play the game themselves. They just got to make the commercial. That's it. Like, it's crazy.
Overpowered Tholin Foulbeard as soon as you download the game through my link. You'll also get Venomage on level 15 and one of the best revivers, Rektor Draff, when you reach level 30. This is the start I could have only dreamed of when starting Raid. There's also dedicated events, tournaments and summon boosts running during the crossover if you want to recruit the other Assassin's Creed champions. But no matter how you play it, grabbing Ezio for free is something you really don't want to miss. So click the link and download Raid now. So Ashes launched to Steam Early Access on December 12, 2025. I actually decided against playing this game at launch because MMO launches are almost always a complete mess.
Yes.
Even for finished games, I'd expect long queues, bugs, disconnects, and server instability.
Oh, there's nice.
Ashes isn't a finished MMO, so I knew the Steam Early Access launch was going to be rough. And it was. People had problems connecting their Steam account to their Intrepid account, massive login queues, disconnects, leaving the Ashes launcher open counted towards your Steam playtime, so some people...
Par for the course for an MMO launch. I don't consider early access launch, but you know what I mean.
People couldn't refund the game by the time they got through the queue. I'm glad I didn't have to deal with any of that. I logged in 3 days later to a less populated server and I connected straight away with no problems. At this point, I hadn't logged into the Ashes Alpha 2 for many months, so going into this, I was expecting some big changes to the new player experience. I was disappointed pretty much straight away that the character creation hasn't changed too much from the last time I played, and I still think
very
that
basic.
compared to other MMOs, the characters don't really look that good. Hopefully this is something they can improve on later in development.
Oh, of course.
I chose the Riverland starting experience and I zone into Lionhold at nighttime. For
Big
whatever
damage.
reason, the nighttime visuals in Ashes have always looked especially bad to me. Going into this, I was expecting the graphics to look a lot better if Intrepid felt confident enough to launch on Steam Early Access to a mass audience. I'd say for the first few hours, I was disappointed with the game's overall visuals and art style, and in its current state, it doesn't look like a next-gen MMO. In fact, out of all of the Unreal Engine 5 MMOs, Ashes of Creation currently looks the worst. When people say this game looks like something...
Well, it because in my opinion, it's still years away from... Beta is usually when, like, you'll see like Chrono Odyssey, isn't an alpha, they're in beta at this point. So... I personally think that we're still like at least 2 years away and the refinement of graphics and everything like that. Right now, it's all about performance, which means graphics is going to suffer. Ashes is a very weird when it comes to the visual fidelity, because there's some parts that look really amazing. And then there's others that look like, what is this? Like it's so weird, like how Ashes can go from looking like a beautiful picture to then looking like a plain Jane UE4 game. Like, it's just really weird.
From 2012, it's hard to disagree with them. However, there is actually a very good reason for why this game's graphics currently look the way they do. Ashes of Creation is the only MMO in development that's constantly upgrading to the latest version of Unreal Engine. It's currently on version 5.7.
That too.
But for a game to focus on graphical fidelity, it needs to lock the engine version and focus on both optimizing graphics and performance.
Exactly.
I actually had no idea that this was why the game's graphics look so bad until I asked this question in a recent dev live stream. This answer from Jacob made a lot of sense.
Can I add more to that question from Lazy Peon? They wanted to know when will they see improvements to the game's visual/graphics, like nighttime, even on max. Take it away, Jacob, on the visuals.
No, it's cool. I just think that like might be a little bit of an education opportunity. The pendulum swings between fidelity and performance frequently in large scale products like this. If this was a box product that had its own locked engine for X amount of years, and they were, rendering engineers pumping for 5 years just to get the hair to work on Zero Dawn, things like that. Those are interesting. That's great. I really appreciate those games and that type of development. And what everybody's seeing and what everybody's experiencing is we swung the pendulum towards performance and accessibility. And we did that on purpose, right? And that does come at a cost. And some of that cost is the visual fidelity that we see through the shaders, through the rendering pipeline in Unreal. Like there's a non-trivial amount of work to do to be able to make it better. And it matters. It matters to us. It matters to you. I know it matters to you. We all want the best looking, best performant product. And that pendulum will continue to swing. The amount of distance between.
I don't think his review, because I'm pretty sure because he was playing it very casually, if he was playing it solo, he probably didn't even get to an end game. So, and honestly, like, what's there to report at end game? There is no end game. So, I mean, that's totally fine.
The pendulum swinging is the thing that will inform like how close we are to feeling good about it. Right now, I don't know that anybody here is super satisfied with the way that it looks. We are more satisfied with the way that it runs. And that pendulum will continue to swing.
And the way it's been running has been so shaky.
So graphical fidelity aside, I continue with the new player starting experience, which was a lot more streamlined and definitely better than before. You get your horse fairly quickly, and I'd say from levels 1 to 5, it was a good experience. One new addition I especially liked for the new player experience was the addition of the Destiny menu, which complemented the tutorial really well. It makes you want to try out different aspects of the game to get those early rewards. I do, however, think they should expand Destinies to include crafting a rowboat, trying out some sport fishing, and obtaining your first mule.
It needs to be an achievement system,
you're introduced
is what it needs to be.
Artisan skills at a camp area that contains various crafters. This is where I first encountered some annoyance, first with the game's UI, as vendors have 2 tabs for items and materials. I needed to buy a strap for a bag, but it was a bit confusing to find in the NPC UI. Next was the processing. I had to craft some thread. You set the craft and have to wait an arbitrary amount of time for the craft to complete. I really don't like crafting systems with arbitrary time sinks like this, as it doesn't really respect your time. After crafting the bag, I continued with the MSQ and had to kill a bandit for some pretty nice XP for my level. After eventually finding a group to kill him, I go to hand in the...
I mean, to be honest with you, like when it comes to the whole timing thing, like I kind of don't care, but would I be upset that if Intrepid made the decision to be like, hey, we're just going to remove the timers. Like if you process something, it's going to be instant. Like, again, wouldn't you think that crafting would actually take just as much time as a process? Like if you're crafting an armor piece, I mean, how is that instant compared to making an ingot where that actually takes 5 minutes, right? I feel like it's a little backwards sometimes, but hey, like if crafting can be instant, why can't processing? Like I really wouldn't mind.
Quest, but the NPC Captain Redblade was nowhere to be found. Everyone in the area was complaining about not being able to continue this quest line, so I logged out. I logged back in the next day, still no NPC, so I logged out again. Going into this, I had heard that the questing experience from levels 1 to 10 was fairly solid, so I was disappointed that it was so buggy. What made this even more frustrating is that it takes a long time to travel from A to B in Ashes due to the world being so huge. There's also a lot of multiple step quests, so when things do go wrong, it feels pretty bad. 2 days after getting the bugged quest, I logged back in and the NPC...
Like, I don't understand how people can say, like, the world's too big, we don't like running around, but people play vanilla WoW or classic WoW where you don't even have a mount from levels 1 through wherever, and you're running every fucking where, but no one's complaining then. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like it's the Riverlands. Like a lot of the stuff in the Riverlands is pretty close, and you get a horse like literally within the first 5 minutes of your gameplay. Like I don't understand how that's always like a negative. Like, oh, the world's too big. I have to walk around everywhere from, being level 5. Well, don't you do that like from, in WoW? You know what I mean? In other like old school MMOs?
had finally spawned so I could hand in the quest. This time though, I came back to the game with a fresh mindset. Instead of questing and mob grinding to level up as quickly as possible, I'd try to take my time, learn the systems, and try a bit of everything for the sake of experiencing what the game currently has to offer. I tried getting into the crafting and gathering, and something I didn't notice at this point was gathering and crafting actually gives really solid XP in Ashes. On top of that, the gathering and crafting system is really unique in that every resource can come in its own rarity. So sometimes you'll be chopping wood, mining rocks, or AFK fishing, and you'll harvest an epic material which can be sold for good money. The higher the rarity of the resource, the more XP you'll get for that gather too, so it really does give you that good brain feeling. Eventually I made my way to the settlement of Jova, where I'd eventually become a citizen of the settlement. Here I learned I could take multiple commission quests for gathering to earn even more XP and money, and also stack these in a way that you can hand them in back to back. Even more good brain feeling. Later I started taking killing commissions and specifically targeting monsters that I'd encounter on my farming routes. On top of that, I could pop a 25% XP scroll to get that giga XP from handing in a full quest log all at
You can literally complete all commissions. Like, what is he doing?
once. The dopamine started to feel amazing, and one of the most positive things I've enjoyed about my time with Ashes of Creation so far is that leveling up solo seems to be a fairly viable path if you mix mob grinding with gathering, crafting, and commissions. I was finally getting that sandbox MMO feeling that I liked, the feeling that I'm thinking for myself and choosing my own leveling path rather than mindlessly following an MSQ. After getting comfortable with the crafting, gathering, and commissions, it was time for me to make some money to buy gear upgrades. The best way to do this is via the crate system, which is intended to be a smaller scale alternative to caravans for solo players and small groups. Before you even craft a crate though, you'll want a mule, which is a mount designed specifically for crate transportation. Without a mule, you'll be moving one crate at a time on your back at walking speed. Mules allow you to carry one crate on your back and 1 or 2 crates on the mule, moving at 100% speed. I bought the trainable Daystrider crate mule from the herbalism vendor near the starting area, took it to an animal husbandry station, paid 75 silver to train the mount, then came back 30 minutes later to collect it. Next I needed to craft a crate. To do this, head to a market commodities vendor in a settlement. You'll need to purchase a commodity certificate either from the player market or directly from the vendor for something called node currency, which are obtained from delivering goods to a node's requisition agent. Then add lumber, stone, and fish at the crafting station, as well as the certificate to craft the crate. These crates can then be delivered to other settlements for gold. The further away the settlement, the more gold you'll make. Additionally, you can make higher rarity crates to make even more gold by obtaining a higher rarity certificate and filling it with the higher rarity resources. After crafting the crate, I ran it from Jova to Winstead and started making some money. For the next few levels, I was having a pretty good time with the gameplay loop of gathering, doing commissions, and running crates back and forth for money. In my downtime, I'd do some AFK fishing, I'd scan the market for undervalued items to resell at a higher price, and if I wanted some combat, I'd do a bit of mob grinding. Aside from that, I also tried out the new sport fishing feature. You can start doing this really early on after crafting a rowboat at a carpentry station. It costs 50 of any wood to craft, so quite a low barrier to entry. After that, buy a fishing lure, find a sport fishing spot, cast your rod out and do a little mini game to catch your fish. Once the fish is caught, grab it from the water and it will appear on your back as a fish crate. Then head to the nearest harbour master to hand it in for gold. Overall, a really solid system, similar to the fishing system in Arcade. The only thing I'm not too sure of is needing to jump in the water to grab the fish, as it allows other players to just camp in the water and steal it without fishing themselves.
What? You don't like that? It's crazy how no one likes that.
Apparently this is the intended mechanic though, as it creates player friction. Since then I've played the game fairly casually, eventually getting to level 20 mostly from life skills and a bit of solo grinding. I have tried joining
Dang, he's level 20?
POIs, but usually these groups are full and I've found it difficult to be invited. Overall, my experience so far started out negative, but over time I've started to enjoy the game more and more despite the many issues it currently has.
It's so crazy that he actually ended up flipping, because I usually see it the opposite way. People actually enjoy their time when they first get in the game, and then as time goes on, they basically hate the loops, or they find out that it's just so weird how it was inverted for him, where he had such a horrible time at the beginning, and then as time went on, he was like, oh, I'm actually having fun now. Like, that's just weird.
Next, let's bullet point the things that I like and dislike about
He's a
Ashes
mage,
so
of course, so it was
starting
difficult to
with
invite.
the things I dislike that I hope will be improved. I dislike that you're able to loot another player's crate without becoming a flagged combatant, as you can exploit this system by using a low-level ult in trash gear to kill another player's mule, causing the crates to drop on the floor, then just swoop in on your main and steal the crates with no risk. There's a lot of guilds currently exploiting this, and it's basically zero risk, only reward for the attackers.
Very true.
So far, I dislike the standard questing in Ashes. I think it's a combination of many of them feeling unrewarding, buggy, and unintuitive. Some require traveling back and forth quite a distance too, so most of the time I feel like I'm just better off mob grinding or doing commissions.
It's very true.
As much as I like the new mule and crate system, I dislike that it seems to have made caravans redundant. Everyone's running crates with mules due to less risk, and you rarely see people run caravans. I dislike the hunting system in its current state. I'm pretty sure it's unfinished, as you just go up to animals and pet them to either obtain hides or tame the animal. I think it feels weird that mount taming and obtaining hides is also done with the same gathering skill.
I can probably see that, Squid. The whole like theme park, but Lazy plays WoW, so he can, I guess maybe he can do both, like the sandbox mindset and also the theme park mindset, and just a matter of like finding out what works. But everything he's mentioned so far, I completely agree with. Like, there's nothing so far that I've heard him say where it's like, oh, wait a minute, hold the phone, stop. No, everything he's been saying, I 100% agree with.
I think it'd make more sense if you had a traditional separate skinning skill, then have animal taming or hunting be its own thing. The user interface lacks quality of life, such as being able to press enter to make confirmations, as well as...
Like, why can't we just fill up a cart? Like, why is it right click sell, right click sell, right click sell? Like, if we can fill up a cart to buy things, why can't we fill up the same cart to sell things? You know what I mean? And I think it's a very simple fix too, personally. I also don't know why there isn't like a longer limit too. Like the fact that I can only buy, I think, what is it, 120 stacks, or not 120 stacks, but like 20, 40, 60, 80, 120, and 40. So I can only put in 7 individual items before the cart is full. Like, why is it only 7? Like, why can't I do more than that? You know what I'm saying? Why is cows 1 stack only? I have no idea. I haven't done anything farming, fishing, or anything related to that. It's crazy. There's a lot of improvements that need to happen.
On your character panel to drag crates into your storage. I think the UI looks good visually, it's just clunky to interact with. As much as the new player experience is improved, it doesn't really do a good job of putting players into sandbox MMO brain mode at the end of it. A WoW player following the MSQ is most likely going to feel lost once the standard questing dries up.
Yep.
I dislike the arbitrary time gate for processing. It disrupts the gameplay flow and wastes your time. The game's graphical fidelity is currently lacking by modern MMO standards. However, as I mentioned at the start, this is likely to improve massively once they lock the engine version. Even still, the character aesthetic and art style does seem to be a weak point. I dislike that your progress of gathering a rock or tree completely resets if you slightly move. I think it'd feel better if you could continue your gathering progress from where you left off. The map currently only displays...
What? Like, gathering progress reset by the slightest movement allow us to resume gathering from our previous progress for smoother gameplay. What does he mean by this? Like, I'm so confused. Like, are you meaning like whenever you get and you're mining and you accidentally move, like, and you have to restart the process? Is that what he's talking about? The gather circle doesn't reset? I think that's exactly what he's talking about. Okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess it is a little annoying, but it's just crazy to have like a whole thing about that, but it's whatever.
Where you left off. The map currently only displays crafting stations and buildings, but it doesn't display NPCs, and you don't have the ability to talk to a guard to get direction to an NPC. An example of this being an issue is with the artisan NPCs that you need to talk to in order to progress to apprentice and journeyman level. Logically, you would.
Wouldn't it be really cool? Like, I just thought about this, like as a mage, and especially coming from World of Warcraft, the one thing I love about the casters and ashes is that you can cast and move. Like, wouldn't it be really cool if you can actually like hit a mining pick or like hit a mine and actually slow walk like around it and still like channel it like you would like your frostbolt or you would your thunder or whatever? I just thought of that right now. I'm like, that'd be really cool. You know what I mean? That way it's like not the slightest little movement, but as long as you're within the radius, you're good, kind of thing. That'd be pretty
Assume
cool.
that these could be found in any major settlement, but they're only located in the starting area. The game should either have some kind of NPC locate feature like BDO, or you should be able to talk to a guard and get directions like in World of Warcraft. The monster tagging system is annoying for quests in that the first player to tag the monster gets all the rewards. This creates frustrating bottlenecks during the early questing.
Yeah, I think this is a huge issue too. This was shitty back in Vanilla WoW. It's still shitty in 2026. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying that every mob needs to be shared, but I just think it's one of those things where I don't know. Like, I just don't like that system. I've never been about it. It's never been something that's kept me like engaged or anything like that. Maybe they can tie it to just have quest mob people be shared and everything else isn't. Like, I don't know, but I honestly, I would just get rid of it. Just literally get rid of it.
I dislike the floaty mount animations when turning left and right, and I hope this is improved later on. I think the character creator needs a lot of work, and I specifically dislike the slow fade in, fade out transitions when changing races, classes, and genders. It'd look cleaner if it was just instant. There needs to be some kind of menu or dedicated storage for cosmetics, as it's annoying having them take up space in your already limited inventory and settlement storage. I think the player market system is a bit weird. Functionally, it's basically the same as an MMO auction house, but with very tedious search functionality. The player body blocking in settlements and safe zones is annoying. I can see there being some reason for it in open world PvP, but having it be a thing in settlements where there is no PvP feels rough. I think the punishment for death in PvP is so hard.
And do you know that if you're on your mount, there is no body blocking? So I feel like it's something they could easily do in the settlements to where they can just turn off body blocking within settlements and then turn it on when you leave the settlement. Like, I don't think that's an issue for them. You know what I mean? Hopefully they can do that.
Harsh that it makes me not want to engage in the system. The XP debt is bad enough, but having 1/4 of your materials deleted and 1/4 lootable is a bit much. There was one situation where I had a good back and forth PvP fight with another player. I killed him, he came back and killed me, I came back and killed him again to get my stuff back, but in the end it felt like we both lost. Having 1/4 of the materials deleted every death made it feel like PvP is only worth it if you can successfully gank someone, then quickly escape rather than having fun back and forth fights. Overall, I think the corruption system needs a lot of work, and it seems like a system that most PvP players are currently just trying to circumvent its intended design. I think XP for commissions and gathering should scale more relative to your level so that leveling via life skills continues to be a viable path of progression. Currently at level 17, it feels like I should really go group grind some mobs to level up, even though I much prefer the gameplay loop of gathering, crafting, and commissions. And obviously I dislike all of the annoying bugs such as logging in and falling through the world, the storage NPCs not responding half the time, as well as the unstable performance, but this is all stuff that I would expect to be fixed over time. Next, let's discuss the things that I like so far about Ashes of Creation. Overall, I really like the combat. Pressing my abilities feels good, and I like how you can upgrade debuffs to hard CC through various ability combos. I like that you've got the freedom to use any weapon and any armor type. Mages, for example, aren't locked to just using cloth. You might find some nice magical plate shoulder pads, for example, and you can equip them. I love the gathering system in that resources have different rarities. It's a unique system, and I also like that you can get some pretty good XP from just doing gathering and commissions in the early levels.
Damn, he's been
Having
gathering.
the option to progress in multiple ways is what a sandbox MMO is all about. I think the settlement system overall is really cool. This is the game's big unique feature that sets it apart from other MMOs. It's still not in a fully complete state, but seeing settlements go from a small crossroads to a town, then contributing to the construction of buildings feels really cool.
The fact that like the settlement system still has so many missing parts to it, the fact that we still don't even have types, the fact that we don't even have like the actual city state, which is tier 5. And there's so many other ancillary systems like the happiness system for people to vote on stuff besides just the mayor, because not every settlement is going to have the option to vote for a mayor, because that's only for the scientific system. Economics can have a silent bidding system. You have the military settlements. They're going to have like a gladiatorial free-for-all battle royale for the mayorship. Like there's so many other layers to just the node system or the settlement system that I really can't wait to see like how that's going to end up playing out. It's gonna be really fucking cool.
I like that the world is extremely vast and distance matters. The world needs to be big for the crate system to work, but just opening the map and seeing these undeveloped settlement locations and knowing that they could eventually grow into a town.
And there's 2 more zones that are not in there. 3 technically,
really
if you
cool.
count just a
I like the
Joma.
sport fishing feature. This was one of my favorite aspects of Arcade, so I'm happy to see it be a thing in Ashes. I like the Destiny board, and I think...
Wait, that's your favorite thing in Arcade. So if you played Arcade also you had to jump out of the your rowboat to go get the fish. Interesting. Like if Lazy Peon played Arcade, then I'm curious why he doesn't like that feature when that was something that was in the original. Because I asked that question. I was like, do you still have, like, do you have to jump out of your boat to go get the fish in Arcade? And people were like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that was, why the fuck did we do that?
this system could be expanded upon to further enhance the new player experience. Perhaps add an exploration Destiny board that rewards you for visiting each POI in the world, for example. I like the crate system as a whole, even though it needs to be better balanced alongside caravans and the corruption system. I like that epic and legendary gear in Ashes feels truly epic due to being very hard and time consuming to obtain. I actually like that you need to figure out the best way to level up yourself rather than just mindlessly following an MSQ. I like that the game feels highly player driven, and I've already had some memorable player encounters.
That's
One
awesome.
cool moment was seeing a player whose mule was killed by an NPC. I stole his crate, he was tilted at me for stealing it, so instead I offered to transport it to the nearest settlement for him in exchange for half the profit, which turned into a positive social experience. Aside from that, you've also got the constant
cool.
possibility of PvP, and the game feels unpredictable, which keeps you on your toes. As much as dying does feel really punishing, sometimes too punishing, one upside of this is that you do feel more engaged when participating in PvE. If you've got a lot of resources, you really don't want to die. It almost feels like hardcore WoW at times. And I like that the world feels dangerous. I actually think it's cool that there's random high-level elite mobs patrolling around settlements to keep you on your toes during your crate runs. Overall, I think a lot of the issues Ashes of Creation currently has are definitely fixable, and I do think
Of
the
course.
game will eventually become a great game for people who enjoyed MMOs like Albion Online, Arcade, Mortal Online 2, OSRS, EVE Online, and Black Desert Online. Before we move on to the next topic, I just want to share some additional thoughts I wrote down whilst leveling that didn't really fit into this section. You start out with a fairly hand-holdy leveling experience, similar to something that's typical of a theme park MMO, where you just follow the MSQ, but when that starts to end and you need to find your own ways to gain XP, players are stuck in theme park MMO brain, and it's hard to make the switch to sandbox MMO brain of creating your own goals. You encounter a lot of quit moments early in the game, buggy questing, confusing UI when first talking to the crafting vendor, difficulty locating NPCs, not being able to open your storage, dying, and realizing that not only do you lose XP, but you also lose half of your materials. The strengths of Ashes don't become apparent until most players have gone through one or two quit moments. People are saying the game has hardly changed in the past year because a lot of the stuff that has been added is later game stuff that a small percentage of the player base interacts with. From the perspective of someone who has only played for a couple of hours, not too much has seemingly changed. I really love that you're able to gain XP from gathering, but you don't gain—
The loops are still exactly the same from phase 1, but now you have like additional things you can do, which is like the crate system and the sports fishing system. And that's really about it. Like those are the two main systems that actually could change your game loop up. And the fact that the freaking treasure map system is so horrible right now. Like, I don't know if Lazy even tried to even do that system. I'm really glad he probably didn't, because it's so, oh, it's bad. It's so bad. Like, I am so disappointed with that system because it was so much fun in phase 1 and 2. And now it's like, I don't even want to run a treasure map, like at all. Like it's not, that system just needs a lot more work. And I really hope that that is something that they do sooner rather than later. But maybe I'm just being, you know.
Any XP from delivering crates. I think it would feel good if you actually did. The XP could be more or less depending on the distance, similar to how it works with the gold you receive. Was it too early for Ashes of Creation to come to Steam Early Access? The Steam announcement really came out of nowhere, and many people, including die-hard supporters of the game, were worried it was too early to be introduced to a casual mass audience. Honestly, this was my concern too. I was worried that Ashes would get destroyed so hard in the reviews that it wouldn't be able to recover. At this point, it's been a few weeks, the dust has settled, and it's sitting at mixed reviews with 63% positive overall
Which is crazy.
in all languages and 55% for English reviews. If you asked me during the first week of early access if it was too early, my answer would have definitely been yes. However, now I've actually changed my mind. In hindsight, I think coming to Steam Early Access now will likely have been the best move for Ashes in the long run, as the feedback they've received from this more casual audience has probably been a serious wake-up call.
Yeah.
I don't think the game would have got the same number of active players jumping into it if they'd have just opened up testing for free on their own launcher. I also don't think as many casual players would have played the game past level 10 if they didn't release on Steam Early Access. Intrepid are now getting the experience of servicing a live 24/7 MMO with server queues, schedule maintenance, and live updates. I think it's a case of short-term pain for long-term gain. It's better to completely overwhelm the servers.
See, this doesn't look bad, but I feel like in the Riverlands sometimes during the day, it looks so washed out. Like, I feel like they lean a little too much into realism sometimes, and there's not enough vibrancy. You know what I'm trying to say? Again, this is supposed to be a magical world, right? Like, not everything has to be so realistic. Like, realistic is boring sometimes. Like, sometimes you can have a little bit of like, well, the trees are always just this bright, lush green, and the rocks are, you know, sort of like in this essence thing or whatever, right? Like, it doesn't have to be all magical. It doesn't have to look all fantastical. But my whole feedback has always been, it's just Verra does not look magical. It looks like any other medieval land. Like, when you look up on the top, like, yeah, you'll see like planets and stuff like that, but the world itself just looks so like it doesn't have a vibrancy to it.
Now in a more realistic environment than these short-term playtests, so that persistent issues can actually be addressed with the widest data set of players possible. In hindsight, the reviews themselves aren't even as bad as I expected. I think the game can absolutely recover from mixed if they can fulfill their vision. And in terms of player retention, it's actually looking really good. I was definitely expecting much more of a drop-off.
Me too.
If Intrepid can be quick to make updates, fix bugs, listen to player feedback, and add content, I honestly think the game will be fine. Next, let's discuss the negativity surrounding Ashes of Creation.
Oh,
Before
God.
and during the Steam Early Access release, the sentiment surrounding Ashes was probably the worst it has ever been.
Very
Reddit
true.
was especially bad. Almost every negative post about the game was instantly upvoted to the top of r/MMORPG. And it was a level of dogpiling and blind hatred that I haven't seen before in over a decade of covering the MMO genre.
I don't know what it is about this game. Like, I don't. Like, it's so crazy to me how the visceral hatred comes out about Ashes of Creation. It's wild. Like, to have that much passion. Because I think those people have probably more passion than the people who love Ashes of Creation. Like, it's just so weird. So weird.
YouTube. I think the negativity surrounding the game comes down to a few factors. I think many long-term fans and supporters of Ashes
Yeah,
turned
Squid, I agree
against
with
the
that.
project
With New
leading up
World,
to and
I
during
agree
the
with that.
Steam Early Access release, because this is an MMO that they'd been defending online for many, many years, and now it's widely available in a state that many people perceive to be too early for widespread public consumption. People who have hyped Ashes up for years to their gaming friends probably felt embarrassed that the game that they've been hyping up and supporting for so long would be coming to Steam in this state. They probably felt like they lost face to their gaming friends who will be going into it expecting a product that's much closer to completion than what's in reality. And to be fair, these people are completely justified in feeling this way, in my opinion. Next, you've got the WoW killer crowd. People who play theme park MMOs like WoW and Final Fantasy XIV, and have been hoping that Ashes would be a game that would compete with the big popular theme parks. These are people who would log into the game, follow the early questing experience, then complain that there's nothing to do once that early questing experience ends, and the game stops telling you what to do. Fundamentally, this game was never going to be for these people. Basically, all of their feedback boils down to make it more like WoW. To be fair, with the amount of exposure and hype this game has had over the years, it is to be expected that most of the players following Ashes are theme park MMO players, because they
I personally don't see the harm in just adding more quests. You don't have to make it like WoW, but I think the amount of quests right now is just, for us being in over a year, and just how easy I think quests can be implemented. Like, I don't understand why we don't have more quests. And, you know, again, like, if you want to play in the more sandboxy way, because Ashes was always meant to be a sand park, right? Have the best of both worlds, right? You can be in this, the whole sandbox element or the whole theme park element. Like, I think it's having a good blend of that, right? And I've always just been more of an advocate of just having, you know, just more questing, really. I don't have any problem with that.
Simply make up the vast majority of the MMO audience. If your game fundamentally doesn't appeal to a majority of MMO fans,
100%, dude.
Going to be
100%.
a negative bias, especially when the penny drops and you're thrown into a world where you need to make your own goals. Death is punished. Our theme park MMO appeal to a majority.
Oh, sorry, my headphones just like literally came off.
MMO fans, then there's to be expected that most of the
Sorry.
players
I was
following
like,
Ashes are theme park MMO players, because they simply make up the vast majority of the MMO audience. If your game fundamentally doesn't appeal to a majority of MMO fans, then there's naturally going to be a negative bias, especially when the penny drops and you're thrown into a world where you need to make your own goals. Death is punished and player friction is a common theme. Finally, you've got the people who like the idea of Ashes, but the game's just taken so long to make that they've kind of lost interest, which is fair enough. I can't speak on what difficulties Intrepid have encountered during development, but it's been a long 8 years since I first started covering this game.
I honestly feel like those people will come back at launch, because they always do. Like, seriously. Let me look at New World. Look at Lost Ark. Lost Ark had 1.6 million people. New World had almost 1 million people at launch. Like, as much shit as everyone always talks, they always show up for a big MMO release all the time.
On YouTube, MMOs typically don't share anything or even announce they exist until they're fairly
if the game is good, they will come.
But
hell,
Ashes
even if
has
it's
been
bad,
doing
they'll
their
come.
Monthly dev live streams for literally 7 years at this point. It's fair to say that over the years there's been times where they've misrepresented the progress of the game to make it seem like it's further in development than it actually was. But at the same time, some of the systems they're trying to tie together in this game, such as settlements, are extremely complex and haven't been done before. They've been trying to get dynamic gridding to work, they're constantly upgrading to the latest version of Unreal Engine, and this is essentially a studio led by someone who hasn't made a game before. There's a lot of reasons for why Ashes is taking a long time to make, but in all fairness, it does seem like progress has sped up a lot.
I wear my Batman blanket as a cape. Yes, I do. It's so funny. My little girl, she has like a koala blanket, and she's been doing it the same way in the living room. It's the cutest freaking thing. I love it. See, oh yeah, everyone will come back after wipe and content. Yeah, I mean, again, all the people, I remember all the people talking shit about New World, like in my own circles, just mad dogging it during the beta. And then of course I saw them playing it. I didn't play New World when it launched because I just didn't like the game. I did play it at beta for like an hour, and then I refunded it because it just wasn't for me. I knew the game was gonna be for me. But all the people that were also talking shit about it were all playing at launch, and I'm like, didn't y'all say y'all hated it? It's like, yeah, but it's an MMO launch, you know, whatever. Like, maybe it'll get good. It's like, y'all were talking all this shit about it. Like, it only has 3 abilities, and the talent trees suck, and the questing's terrible, and I don't know. It was just funny.
In the past year. For all these reasons I mentioned, it's understandable why sentiment around the game is so negative. But I think the worst is probably
I quit
over,
New World like 4
and
times.
It should be onwards and upwards from
The
here.
average MMO
Fingers
gamer right there.
crossed.
I quit WoW like at least 20
Final
times.
segment, who is Ashes of Creation actually for? What type of MMO player does this game appeal to?
It's a hard thing to
Ashes of
ask.
Creation
Or
will have some sort of appeal to you if you enjoyed MMOs like Albion Online, Arcade, Mortal Online 2, OSRS, EVE Online, Black Desert Online.
Man, the OSRS people are going to be really mad. You do not compare OSRS to Ashes of Creation in these circles. Oh my God. Every single person I've talked to that plays OSRS that has tried Ashes, like, hate it. Hate Ashes of Creation. At least the people I've talked to. I mean, maybe you're an OSRS person, you love Ashes, but man, like, it's very funny he said that.
Baltimore Online, Throne of Liberty, PAX Day, and Worm Online. If you didn't really enjoy any of those games, it's fundamentally most likely not going to be an MMO for you. This game isn't a WoW killer because it's not trying to be. It's not trying to be an alternative to games like Final Fantasy XIV, WoW, ESO,
Guild
or
Wars.
Star Wars The Old Republic.
Oh.
It may have some similar elements to those games, but design-wise, it's completely
Totally
different.
different.
Ashes is trying to be an MMO where players create their own goals.
And I think for me as a WoW player, that was Ash's biggest draw for me, was it was completely different from the WoW model. Because if you're sick of the fucking WoW model, well, here you go. Like, here's a whole different thing to do, you know? And of course, right now, there's not much to do in Ashes, but I mean, think about like the potentiality of launch of like every system being complete in a 1.0 foundational state. Like, I think Ashes of Creation could be such a huge like breath of fresh air compared to the same seasonal fucking model you've literally been doing in World of Warcraft for many, many, many years. So I don't know, like I agree with what Lazy Peon is saying, but as someone who's coming from World of Warcraft, like I like the fact that it's different. So I just think it's about keeping an open mind to that difference. I think that's really what it is.
And your experience leveling through the world is unique to you based on
If it
your
was
own
Arcade 2.
decisions. The main enemy of the world isn't going to be some NPC, but probably some guild that's terrorizing the land by seizing power and raising the tax rate. A game where the stories told about it are centered around conflict or cooperation between players, not some pre-written linear story that has a set conclusion. Some people will hate that. In fact, given that most popular MMOs are linear story-driven theme parks, most people will hate that. But it's certainly got an audience that I definitely consider myself a part of. So if Ashes sounds like a game that's for you, do I recommend buying it now? No, not yet. I'd recommend waiting for at least one big update, possibly several, to fix all of the major common bugs. If you've got the pay,
or just wait till beta, wait till launch. Like, I don't even say wait for a couple more updates. Literally, just if you have any problems with Ashes, if you don't want to play Ashes of Creation, I really highly recommend to just wait till beta 2 or even just the actual launch, because then you'll have the complete fucking picture there, and everything will be available to you. All the content will be available to you. Like, you're just going to have don't waste your very first impression in an alpha. Like, if you can withhold the temptation, have your first impression be the real live launch. That's what I would say.
Patience of a saint and actively want to test
Wait until I
and
get my
look for
refer code
bugs,
up and
then
run.
go for it. You'll be rewarded with a special mount if you submit a replicatable bug report. But to conclude, I have changed my mind about it being too early for Ashes to come to Steam Early Access. I actually think it'll be good in the long run. I don't think the game's a scam, because the idea of a scam is to make money, and they've spent so much money developing the game at this point.
Seriously.
That the only way out of that hole is to deliver a successful game. My first impressions started off quite negative in the early game, but eventually improved as I played more, learning about the crafting, gathering, and commissions. Overall, in its current state as an unfinished game, I'd rate it a 5 out of 10. And despite the negative sentiment, I'm actually quite optimistic that Ashes will become a really solid MMO over the next couple of years for fans of Sandpark, Sandbox style MMOs. That's it for this video. As always, let me know your thoughts on Ashes of Creation's Steam Early Access release in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel for more Ashes coverage, and if you want to buy the game and support the channel, then use my referral code on screen or in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Honestly, that was really good. I loved it. Here, let's look at comments. It's Steve. It's usually Steven always comments on. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys watched the video already. I was very late to this party. Let me see. Raid Shadow Legends ads are back. Let me see. The game needs more, or needs some OSRS type of quests, so you can either grind mobs, gather crafting, or quests. PvP should give XP too. I don't know if PvP should give XP, because that can be so exploitable. But I think, you know, you just need to add more quests for sure. Let me see. There's a button in the where you can click. Yeah, that's what I was saying with one click. Yeah, 100%. I really hope Lazy Peon looks at that one. PvP given XP would be exploited hard. 100% would be exploited hard. 100%. This game has never looked like one I would like. You mentioned enjoying gathering resources and caravan stuff as a positive several times. That sounds super boring. I think I probably don't like sandbox MMOs after watching this video. Appreciate the videos. It clarified some things for me. And again, I feel like those people, even the people that are like, I don't know if this game, because that's not what all this game is, right? Like gathering resources and caravanning, like that, you don't have to do that. Like in MMOs, there's so many facets of what you can potentially do that it's not an end all be all of like, oh, well, this system exists. Like, I don't like pet battles in World of Warcraft. Doesn't mean I have to do that. Like, oh, you mentioned pet battles as a positive. Like, I guess it really just confirmed to me, like, I probably won't like that game. Like, well, there's so much more to World of Warcraft than pet battles. You know what I'm saying? There's the XP debt for PvP deaths. I mean, I think when it comes to XP debt, I think there should be mulligans, basically, where it's sort of like an incurring thing, instead of it being like I die once and it's like super duper punishing. But I mean, some people like that. You know what I mean? Like, again, it promotes that, you know, risk versus reward. It promotes that fear and danger when you're out in the world. Now, when it comes to PvP, I think that the death risks, especially for your materials and everything like that, like, I personally think that when it comes to PvP, like, maybe there should be some kind of stacking thing where you kill someone once and there isn't anything that really drops from them. But if there's like multiple times that they're dying, then maybe that's what it would be, to like actually promote the whole engagement in PvP in the cat and mouse game, rather than just the one time I got you, now I have to like run and get my shit. Like maybe something like that. I don't know. I mean, I think there's just, you know, stuff that we can probably ask, right? Caravans is why I'm playing the game. I mean, Caravans to me, I thought was a boring system on paper, but then actually playing the system in phase 1, I found the Caravan system to be fucking fun. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds boring, yes, but I mean, in practicality, when you're with your boys and you're delivering something that's like, you're going to make some bank on, you know what I mean? And then you also get the potentiality of having PvP on top of that. Like, it can get very exciting very quickly. You know, yeah, you can have a very boring caravan run, but I mean, honestly, we had a blast in our guild doing it. It was fun. Maybe have a separate stat page for PvP, 1v1, 3v3 settlement wars, TD, etc. Yeah, potentially. And you see a good system might be that you don't drop loot unless you release your body to respawn, so you can choose to stay there and maybe get a res. That could be interesting too. A lot of people have said that if clerics resed you, that it actually wipes away like a portion of your XP debt. Right. So that way clerics have like a thing where it's like, hey, I can like res you or whatever, but maybe it's not like all the time. Maybe it's like the first time it'll cleanse you of XP debt, and the second time it only cleanses you of like maybe 2% of your XP debt, you know, something like that. So that way it keeps something like that going. You see the constant fear and on the edge of feeling during a caravan run is addicting. It is. It's really cool. That's an EQ mechanic. Oh, the whole like stain on your body not releasing. Interesting. I never played EverQuest. I know you did, Roar. To see make corruption account wide. I think blight needs to be account wide. Corruption, I don't know if corruption should be, because again, what if you're in a settlement on your alt? You know what I mean? And if you're corrupted, everyone, you're just gonna die instantly. So like I think blight should be account wide, but not, I don't think corruption should personally. Let me see, if you die in PvP, shouldn't drop anything at all, only a crate if you are carrying one. Yeah, like I think when it comes to PvP, like I think there should be some kind of engagement there. And even if it was something like, it doesn't even have to be like 25% of your materials. Like I think if you died to another player, I don't think losing 25% of your stuff instantly and then the other player can get the remaining 25%, to me is terrible. I would rather just not lose anything upon my death in a PvP encounter, but I can still give that player like maybe 10% of my stuff. So it still kind of sucks, and it's random 10%. But I think the thing that is kind of annoying to deal with in PvP especially is the fact that you lose like just automatically 25% just by dying. And I don't mind that in PvE. Like for some reason, I think in PvE, I think that's totally fine. In PvP, I don't think it should work that way. Blind needs to be gotten rid of. Worst thing about this game. Interesting. Why would you say that? Let me see. So, well, when it comes to XP debt, it would not surprise me if there would be node-based altars for the goddesses that will grant the blessing of no XP debt and stuff like that. So your world can have no XP debt, but you have to be a citizen of that node and whatnot. It'd be interesting if you actually got like special perks. Like if you were a citizen of a religious node, then you can go to the altar and actually wipe away your XP debt. But if you are a citizen of the scientific node, then you'll get some kind of adventuring buff or some kind of thing for that. Maybe like 5% additional experience gain or something like that. And then if you're like in a military one, then maybe you get like a constitution buff or just something like that, like some kind of special buff that like you would rather be a special citizen of like this or that. I think that'd be really, really cool. They don't do that so players when the singer event's dying to trade glint. I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of ways that people can circumvent things. It's something we all have to figure out, of course. I come from Albion Online, so I'm used to saying to myself, if I leave this town, I'm not safe. So I keep moving my camera looking for gankers at every return. Yeah, in Ashes, it's really not like that. You know what I mean? Like right now, there's not even really PvP happening. Hold on. I had Tanko messaged me. He said if I could watch his video, although it's definitely a bit schizophrenic than informative. I don't know if I'm going to watch that video today. Like I said, I'm probably going to be getting off very soon. Actually, what I got to do right now is I got to use the bathroom. That's what I do right now. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Could you at least link it so I can watch it? Link what? Oh, which video? The Lazy Peon one? I did link it. Ran rare crate from a Jova to KT, 1 gold 36. Oof. Bro, I'm so sorry about that, dude. Yeah, the diminishing returns like is wild. And again, I think the fact that it does not reflect in real time is such a huge issue to me. That's why I haven't run crates. To me, I think it's not worth my time because I don't know how much gold I'm going to get. And depending on how far it is and the distance I would have to travel, and then having to come back to the Riverlands dependent, like to me, it just doesn't feel worth it. Like, okay, like I can probably make that gold just literally selling one of my high material items or going to sports fishing hole. Like, I don't know. It just, to me, it doesn't seem like a good time. Let me see. God, we just attacked a group of 10 players, all 25. There was 4 of us, so just scared 4 members to let the other guys 6 get away. Let me see. Ran 3 greens from KT to Tangled and made 11 gold. Damn. Is that in the tropics? I'm just curious. I don't know all the settlement names yet. I mean, there's so many of them. June Dark? Shit, KT to June Dark. That's a trek. Yeah, and I think honestly, like if they would show in real time like what you could make, so I don't feel like, because you know people will say, oh, like that's wasting my time. Like that to me is a big waste of my time. Like when I don't even know the accurate pricing of like my storages or whatever, right? Like that to me is kind of crazy. But guys, I'm probably gonna go ahead and get off right now. My wife just got home from picking up the or she didn't just get home, she got home a little while ago, but I just want to go hang out with her because she's probably gonna go to bed soon. And I was hoping we can watch like a episode of anime or something. But guys, thank y'all so much for watching and everything like that. Roar, I'm assuming you're not streaming since you're here in chat. God, I'm so tired. Wow, Dusty almost has like 400 viewers. It's crazy. I don't know. I always feel like every time when I'm looking for someone to raid, I always feel like I don't know who the hell I'm gonna raid, and then I just feel like I don't want to raid anybody. Oh look, there's Whetstone. There we go. I'll raid him. All right, guys. Well, y'all have a great night. Like I said, I'll see you guys tomorrow, probably after 7 p.m. Central. I don't know when I'm exactly gonna go live tomorrow, but it'll probably be sometime after 7 p.m. since it'll be Friday. So you guys have a great one. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you. Peace.